The Johnny Carson Show was the pinnacle of late-night television, a stage where careers were made and reputations cemented. Millions tuned in to watch the iconic host, and a single appearance could catapult an entertainer to nationwide fame. But for one guest, that golden opportunity ended in disaster, and she was never allowed back on the show. The incident is a story of fame, nerves, and a single moment that changed everything. Audiences remember her charm, her talent, and her charisma. But behind the scenes, things went very differently. What started as a dream appearance quickly turned into an unforgettable on-air moment, one that Johnny Carson himself reportedly found impossible to overlook. Sources say that her performance, whether it was a joke gone wrong, a controversial comment, or an unexpected reaction, crossed a line that the show couldn't forgive. For Carson, who had seen thousands of entertainers walk across that stage, the standards were clear. Respect, timing, and professionalism were non-negotiable. That night, something about her act or attitude disrupted the delicate balance of his legendary program, and the consequences were immediate. The fallout was swift and definitive. While most guests might get a second chance, she was banned, never to appear again. The reason, though whispered about in Hollywood circles, remained a mystery to the public for decades. Until now, the story reveals the exact moment that turned an opportunity into a career cautionary tale. This is more than a story about a single misstep. It's a glimpse behind the curtain of Hollywood's most revered television institution, a reminder that one moment can change everything, and a tale of fame, ambition, and the unforgiving standards of entertainment history. In the golden era of late-night television, The Tonight Show. Starring Johnny Carson wasn't just a program, it was a cultural institution. Appearing on that stage could make or break a career. For decades, Johnny Carson was the king of late night, a man whose wit, timing, and charm defined the genre. Actors, comedians, and musicians eagerly awaited their chance to perform in front of the millions who tuned in each night. It was, without question, the ultimate spotlight. For one particular guest, that spotlight represented a dream come true. She had spent years building her career, working tirelessly in theater, television, and film, earning accolades and developing a reputation for talent, charm, and professionalism. Her appearance on Carson's show was meant to be a pivotal moment, a chance to reach a national audience and elevate her status in Hollywood. Friends and colleagues remember her excitement, the nervous energy before walking onto the stage, and the meticulous preparation that went into rehearsing her act. But the night didn't go as planned. Johnny Carson, known for his sharp sense of humor and ability to read a room, noticed something that unsettled him. Whether it was a line delivered incorrectly, a joke that crossed the boundaries of taste, or a reaction that seemed disrespectful, the on-air moment was jarring in a way that audiences may not have fully realized at the time. The live broadcast continued smoothly for viewers at home, but behind the cameras, the tension was palpable. For Johnny Carson, who had hosted thousands of performers, standards were non-negotiable. He expected professionalism, timing, and the ability to adapt to the pressures of live television. One misstep could derail the carefully constructed rhythm of his show. And on that night, the guests' actions, whether intentional or accidental, violated those unspoken rules. What may have seemed minor to some quickly became a serious matter in the eyes of the host and his producers. Immediately after the episode, discussions took place among the show's staff. Producers debated whether the incident was a one-time occurrence or indicative of a larger issue. In the end, the decision was clear. This guest, despite her talent and previous accomplishments, would never be invited back to Carson's stage. Hollywood insiders say the ban was absolute, a rare and almost unheard-of move given the number of celebrities who had graced the iconic couch over the years. The incident became part of the behind-the-scenes lore of late-night television, whispered about in casting rooms and talent agencies. For the guest, it was a humbling, if painful reminder of how even the most promising opportunities could vanish in an instant. It highlighted the unforgiving nature of Hollywood, the weight of expectations on performers, and the reality that sometimes one moment could define a professional trajectory in ways that years of hard work could not undo. By the end of that night, a dream had transformed into a cautionary tale. The stage that had promised fame, recognition, and a career boost instead became a symbol of the fine line between success and professional exile, and a story that would echo through Hollywood for decades to come. The night of the infamous appearance began like any other. The audience was buzzing with excitement. The band played its opening fanfare, and Johnny Carson, calm and charismatic, welcomed his guest with the familiar charm that had made him an icon. Everything seemed normal on the surface, smiles, handshakes, and light banter. But behind that poised exterior, tension was quietly building. What transpired during the interview or performance would later be described by insiders as a career-altering moment. While the guest was skilled, prepared, and known for her professionalism, live television is unforgiving. A single misjudgment, a poorly timed joke, a response that misfired, or even an unintentional comment can have outsized consequences when millions are watching. On this night, her actions crossed a line that Carson and his production team deemed unacceptable. Sources suggest that Johnny, who had witnessed thousands of acts over his decades-long career, rarely reacted to small errors. He valued spontaneity, humor, and even mild eccentricities. But this particular incident wasn't minor. Behind the cameras, Carson reportedly expressed concern to producers, noting that the guest's conduct could not be overlooked. The energy on stage had shifted, the flow disrupted. In the seamless rhythm of the show, a hallmark of Carson's mastery had been compromised. After the taping, the conversation backstage grew more serious. Producers debated whether the situation warranted a reprimand, a gentle warning, or a ban. For most stars, one awkward appearance might be forgiven, but the combination of factors on this night made it unprecedented. Johnny's reputation was built not just on his comedic timing, but on maintaining control of every moment. Any disruption threatened the integrity of the show. Ultimately, the decision was made. She would never appear on The Tonight Show again. For the guest, this was devastating. The platform represented more than just television exposure. It was a launchpad for career growth, a way to connect with audiences nationwide, and a symbol of Hollywood validation. Being denied future appearances was a blow that went far beyond embarrassment. It carried real implications for her professional trajectory. Hollywood insiders note that the fallout was immediate and long-lasting. Talent agents, managers, and producers took note of the incident, often citing it as a cautionary example for others. While the public might have only seen a brief moment on air, the internal repercussions were significant. For this guest, doors that once seemed open suddenly appeared closed, and the opportunity to return to the stage that could have propelled her career further was forever gone. This chapter of her story underscores a harsh reality in the entertainment world. Even the most talented, prepared, and charismatic performers are vulnerable to a single misstep. In Hollywood, reputation is everything, and a mistake in front of millions, or a host as influential as Johnny Carson, can have consequences that ripple for decades. By the end of that night, a career milestone had turned into a cautionary tale. The guest's experience on Carson's iconic stage became a lesson about the fragility of opportunity, the weight of professional standards, and the unforgiving nature of fame. The days and weeks after her infamous appearance on The Tonight Show were a whirlwind of shock, confusion, and whispered explanations. While the audience at home might have seen only a fleeting moment, the backstage reality was far more intense. Johnny Carson's team, meticulous and protective of the show's reputation, had decided that her behavior was unacceptable, and the consequences were swift. Hollywood, as insiders know, is a network built on reputation. A single incident on a platform as visible and influential as Carson's could ripple across the industry. Within days, talent agents, casting directors, and producers were aware of the incident. Some were sympathetic, recognizing that live television can be unpredictable. Others were cautious, understanding that The Tonight Show was more than just a talk show. It was an institution, and Carson's word carried immense weight. For this guest, that meant her professional options began to narrow, not because of her talent, but because of a perception created in one unforgettable moment. Friends and colleagues remember her frustration vividly. She had prepared for the appearance meticulously, rehearsing lines and timing, and yet, in the pressure cooker environment of live television, a single misstep overshadowed all her effort. The sense of injustice was overwhelming. She had worked tirelessly to build her career, earning respect in theater, television, and film, and yet one appearance changed how the industry perceived her. The impact was long-lasting. Invitations to other high-profile talk shows slowed, and her ability to leverage late-night exposure into more substantial roles diminished. Industry insiders recall that for years afterward, she had to navigate subtle obstacles. A reminder that in Hollywood, perceptions often matter more than reality. What had been a career-defining opportunity had turned into a cautionary tale, and she became one of the rare performers permanently barred from returning to Carson's stage. Yet the story is also one of resilience. Though the ban was devastating, she continued to pursue her craft, taking roles in theater, television, and film that allowed her to demonstrate her talent on other platforms. Colleagues note that this period tested her determination, teaching her how to thrive despite setbacks and reminding her that a single incident, no matter how public, could not define her entire career. By examining the fallout behind the curtain, it becomes clear that her story is not just about a single on-air mistake. It's about the power of perception in Hollywood, the influence of legendary figures like Johnny Carson, and the fragility of opportunity in a world where one moment can create a professional stigma. Her experience also highlights the human side of entertainment, the pressure, the scrutiny, and the reality that even the most prepared and talented performers can face consequences beyond their control. Ultimately, this chapter reveals a complex lesson. Fame offers unparalleled opportunities, but it also comes with risks that can alter a career in an instant. For her, that night on Carson's stage would forever be a pivotal moment. A reminder of how high the stakes can be when talent, ambition, and visibility intersect on live television. The consequences of her infamous Tonight Show appearance were clear. She would never grace Johnny Carson's stage again. For most performers, such a ban could feel like the end of the road, a permanent mark on a career that once held so much promise. But for her, it became a turning point, a moment to reevaluate, refocus, and find success on her own terms. Initially, the aftermath was bitter. Opportunities that might have followed a successful appearance evaporated, and her team had to work harder to secure roles and maintain visibility in Hollywood. Industry insiders recall the frustration she felt, knowing that her talent remained intact while doors were quietly closing. It was a humbling reminder of the power of perception in an industry where even small missteps can have amplified consequences. However, she refused to let the incident define her career. Instead, she sought out roles in theater, television, and film that allowed her to showcase her skills and resilience. By taking projects that emphasized her strengths, she began to rebuild her reputation, demonstrating to audiences and industry professionals alike that she was more than a single moment on a talk show. Each performance became a statement. She was talented, professional, and capable of succeeding despite setbacks. Over time, her story became a testament to perseverance. Colleagues note that the experience taught her invaluable lessons about navigating the entertainment industry, the importance of timing, the value of discretion, and the need to maintain confidence even when circumstances feel unfair. By focusing on her craft rather than dwelling on the ban, she not only preserved her career, but also cultivated a resilience that would carry her through decades of work in a notoriously challenging industry. The public, too, eventually learned of the story, adding a layer of intrigue to her legacy. Fans marveled at the idea that one misstep could permanently alter the trajectory of a career, and yet they also celebrated her ability to rise above it. In many ways, the ban from Carson's show became less a mark of shame and more a symbol of her determination and strength. She had survived one of the most visible stages in entertainment history and found ways to thrive beyond it. Looking back, the incident is a lesson for performers and fans alike. Fame can offer incredible opportunities, but it is also fragile. In one moment, one joke, or one unintended comment can have consequences far beyond what anyone might anticipate. Yet, equally, it is a reminder that resilience, talent, and perseverance can allow someone to forge their own path, even when doors close unexpectedly. By the end of her journey with Carson, she had learned that success isn't defined by a single stage or a single appearance. It is defined by the ability to continue, to adapt, and to prove your worth again and again. Though she was never allowed. Back on The Tonight Show, she carved a career on her own terms, leaving a legacy of professionalism, talent, and determination that remains an inspiration to performers everywhere. In the end, her story isn't just about being barred from a famous couch. It's about resilience, the courage to keep moving forward, and the ability to shine despite setbacks. She turned a career-defining moment of disappointment into a lifelong lesson in strength and perseverance, proving that true talent always finds its stage.